Welcome to our deep dive today.
Okay.
We're going to be exploring a fascinating concept,
Okay.
self-fulfilling prophecies.
All right.
Have you heard of those?
Oh, yeah.
This idea that what we believe can actually shape what comes true.
Absolutely.
We're diving into Mike Martin's book, The Self-Fulfilling Formula, to uncover how we can harness this power.
Yeah, it's not just theoretical, is it?
Yeah.
Mike Martin, he's the CEO of Top-Down Strategies.
Right.
He brings a ton of real-world experience.
Yeah.
He spent 30 years in the trenches of IT and management consulting.
Mm-hmm.
And then he really focused on helping businesses and individuals
Yeah.
leverage this formula for success.
That's right. He's not just talking about self-fulfilling prophecies in this vague, inspirational way.
Yeah.
He lays out a really concrete system with three interconnected areas.
Right.
Mental fitness,
Yes.
social fitness,
Right.
and execution fitness.
That's right.
It's like a recipe for success, where each ingredient plays a crucial role.
Each one is important. Yeah, and it's fascinating how he connects those.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just think positive thoughts.
Right.
You've got to have that mental resilience to deal with those inevitable setbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you need strong relationships to support you,
Yeah.
keep you accountable.
Uh-huh.
And then finally,
That action.
that action.
You got to do it.
You got to execute.
Yeah. You need the discipline to take consistent action.
Yes,
And that's what brings the prophecies to life.
it really does.
One of the things that really struck me right away was how he emphasizes the importance of relationships.
Right.
And it reminded me of that famous Harvard study of adult development,
Right.
where they found that close relationships are one of the biggest predictors of happiness and longevity.
Absolutely.
And he really echoes that in the book.
Yes.
He argues that true success isn't just about hitting those arbitrary targets,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about living a fulfilling life.
It is.
And strong, supportive relationships are absolutely essential for that.
They are the foundation.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
He doesn't just keep this formula at the individual level.
Right.
He extends it to teams, businesses, and even society as a whole.
That's right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Imagine harnessing the collective power of belief to tackle some of the world's biggest challenges.
I know, that's where it gets really exciting. And
Yeah.
maybe a little daunting, right?
Mhm.
If enough people believe we can overcome climate change or create a truly just system,
Yeah.
could that shared belief actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy?
It's a question worth exploring.
It is.
But let's dive into some of the core concepts that Mike presents in the book.
Okay.
One that really resonated with me was the achievement trap.
Oh, yeah.
He shares a personal story about building a successful consulting practice,
Mm-hmm.
but still feeling unhappy.
Right. And that's so common, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a classic example of how chasing those external milestones
Right.
doesn't equal happiness.
Doesn't automatically equal happiness.
Yeah. Mike was constantly moving the goalposts,
Yeah.
chasing that next achievement, and he was neglecting those crucial relationships,
Neglecting the relationships.
which is something a lot of us do,
It's a trap a lot of us fall into.
especially in today's achievement-oriented culture.
Yes, and it's like he was living someone else's prophecy,
Yes.
not his own.
Right.
That's why he stresses the importance of aligning those self-fulfilling prophecies with our core values
Mm-hmm.
and purpose.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we end up chasing empty accolades.
That's right.
And then he dives into this very real problem of self-sabotage,
Yeah.
which I think we can all relate to on some level.
Oh, absolutely.
That little voice that tells us we're not good enough
Yeah.
or we're going to fail.
Yes.
It's insidious.
So insidious, and it's sneaky, too.
Yes.
Mike actually uses a framework.
Oh,
It's called
sure.
positive intelligence.
Okay.
Or PQ.
PQ.
And it was developed by Shirzad Chamine.
Okay.
Have you come across that before?
I've heard of it. I'm not super familiar.
Well, it's all about understanding those negative voices
Yeah.
in our heads,
Yeah.
saboteurs, as he calls them.
Right.
And they really can hijack our best intentions.
Yes.
What's fascinating is how Mike integrates PQ into this whole self-fulfilling prophecy process.
Yeah.
So instead of letting those saboteurs run the show
Right.
and derail our efforts,
Uh.
we can actually learn to identify them
Okay.
and then build up what Shamin calls the sage.
The sage.
Yeah, the wiser, more positive part of ourselves.
I like that.
Yes.
So we're building up our sage
We are.
and not letting the saboteurs run the show.
That's right.
Yes.
And the more we strengthen our sage, the better we become at navigating challenges, making clear decisions, and taking those consistent actions
Right.
that turn our prophecies into reality.
Now, I know what some of our listeners might be thinking.
Okay.
They might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great,
Yeah.
but how do I actually put this into practice?
Yeah. Good question.
And luckily, Mike provides a ton of practical advice and tools.
He does.
He talks about setting smart goals, building a relationship plan.
Yeah.
He even uses techniques like the 5 whys
Right.
to help us get to the root of what we truly desire.
To help us understand those deeper motivations.
Yes, exactly. And he even applies these principles to the world of business sales.
He does.
Imagine approaching every sales interaction,
Yeah.
not as a battle to be won,
Right.
but as an opportunity to build genuine connections and provide real value.
Yeah.
It's a complete reframing of traditional sales tactics.
It is. I love that.
I love that too, and it actually reminded me of Brian Tracy's new model of selling.
Yes.
It flips the script on those pushy, aggressive tactics.
Yeah.
Instead, it's about listening, understanding the customer's needs, and building trust.
That's where social fitness comes in.
Yeah.
It's about approaching those relationships, both personal and professional, with authenticity and a genuine desire to contribute.
Okay, so let's dig into some of the specific stories and examples Mike shares in the book.
Okay.
One that really struck me was his kindergarten experience. So his father was fascinated by psychology,
Right.
and he actually told Mike's teacher that Mike was highly intelligent,
Oh, wow.
even though he hadn't been tested.
Just put it out there.
Yeah, and it's a great illustration of the power of belief.
It is.
So that statement, whether it was based on fact or not at the time,
Right.
set off this chain reaction.
Right.
The teacher treated Mike differently,
Yeah.
gave him more challenging work,
Mm-hmm.
and he thrived.
And he thrived.
Classic self-fulfilling prophecy in action.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It makes you wonder how many of us have been held back by limiting beliefs,
I know.
whether our own or those imposed on us by others.
Absolutely right. How many of us are not living up to our potential?
And on the flip side,
Yeah.
it makes you realize the incredible potential we have to unlock
Yes.
if we can shift those beliefs
If we can shift those beliefs.
to something more empowering.
Yes.
And speaking of empowering beliefs,
Yeah.
Mike uses some great examples
Okay.
from the world of music and sports
Oh, I love those.
to illustrate the power of mindset.
Yeah.
So he talks about U2's early rejection letter
Oh, wow.
from a record label.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey writing himself a $10 million check
I love that story.
for acting services rendered,
Yeah.
and Michael Jordan being cut from his high school basketball team.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
These stories are so inspiring.
they are.
Each of them highlights the importance of unwavering belief,
Yes.
even in the
Yeah.
face of setbacks.
Absolutely. You have to just keep believing.
It's like these individuals created their own luck
I think they did.
by believing so strongly in their abilities.
Yeah, and that's why Mike emphasizes that we need to be really mindful of the prophecies we are creating for ourselves.
Right.
Are we setting ourselves up for success with these positive, empowering beliefs?
Right.
Or are we unintentionally sabotaging ourselves?
Yeah.
With these self-defeating prophecies?
That's the question we all need to ask ourselves.
Is a great question.
Now, Mike also dives deep into the power of visualization,
Yeah.
citing the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
He encourages readers to visualize their goals
Yeah.
as if they've already achieved them.
Like it's already happened.
Yeah. And he's careful to point out that visualization is not some magic bullet.
It's not.
It's not about just wishing for things to happen.
Right?
You got to do the work.
You got to do the work.
It's not enough to just think it.
Yeah.
You have to take action.
Absolutely.
He stresses the importance of aligning your actions with those beliefs.
Yes.
So if you want to be a confident public speaker,
Yeah.
you have to practice speaking in public.
Yes. Even if it makes you nervous.
Even if it makes you nervous.
Yeah.
If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to take action,
That's right.
even if you make mistakes along the way.
Yeah. He uses the analogy of a gardener.
Oh, yeah.
You can visualize a beautiful garden all you want, but if you don't plant the seeds,
Yeah.
water them,
Yeah.
weed them, you'll never see those flowers bloom.
Right.
It's the consistent action that brings those visualizations to life.
Now let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
Talk about Mike's insights on happiness.
Okay.
This is where his personal experience really shines through.
Yes.
He talks about how he spent years chasing achievement,
Yeah.
only to find himself feeling empty and unfulfilled.
Yes.
It's a reminder that happiness is an inside job,
That's right. It's not about what we achieve.
Right.
It's about how we experience life.
He emphasized that lasting happiness comes from a deep sense of contentment and gratitude for what we already have.
Yes.
And he also talks about the importance of social fitness, building on that idea that strong relationships are key to both happiness
Yeah.
and longevity.
Absolutely.
And he encourages us to prioritize those close connections,
Yes.
build genuine relationships,
Yeah.
and contribute to others' well-being.
It all makes sense.
And he provides some really practical tips
Okay.
for cultivating that social fitness,
Yeah.
like keeping a gratitude journal,
Mm-hmm.
practicing affirmations,
Yes.
and engaging in acts of kindness.
Oh, I love that.
And these aren't just fluffy feel-good activities.
Yeah.
They're actually rewiring our brains.
That's right.
To focus on the positive.
It's like we're training our minds to see the good
Yeah.
in ourselves,
Yes.
in others, and in the world around us.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. Now, before we move on to part 2,
Okay.
where we explore Mike's ideas on applying this formula to teams and businesses,
Okay.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
What stands out to you so far? What's resonating with you personally from this first part of our deep dive?
For me, it's that idea of the achievement trap
Yeah.
that really hits home.
I know.
I've definitely caught myself chasing external validation,
Uh-huh.
thinking that next promotion
Right.
or that next accomplishment
Yeah.
would finally bring happiness.
Yeah.
But Mike's experience and all the research he cites
Yes,
really highlights that fulfillment comes from something deeper.
it does.
And it makes me think about how we can apply these principles
Yeah,
beyond just our personal lives.
absolutely.
If we can use this self-fulfilling formula
Right.
to create positive change in ourselves,
Uh-huh.
imagine what we could achieve by applying it to teams and businesses.
I know that's exactly where Mike takes us
Okay.
in the next part of the book.
Okay.
He talks about creating what he calls a team prophecy.
A team prophecy.
Yeah, this is where the shared belief
Okay.
in the team's ability to achieve a goal
Right.
becomes this driving force.
It's like taking that individual power of belief
Yes,
and amplifying it exponentially.
exponentially. That's a great word for it.
Right.
And Mike argues that teams actually have an advantage over individuals
Really?
when it comes to self-fulfilling prophecies.
Why is that?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
When you're part of a team, you've got multiple people reinforcing those positive beliefs, supporting each other,
Yeah.
and holding each other accountable.
Yeah, it's like having a built-in support system
It is a built-in support system
for your prophecy.
for your prophecy, exactly.
It's like that saying,
Yeah.
if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
I love that saying.
And Mike points out that when a team is truly aligned on a goal,
Yeah.
they can share the burden of taking those consistent, correct actions.
Right, because it's a collective effort,
Right.
and that can be really motivating.
More motivating when you're not doing it alone.
Yeah, when you feel like you've got people in your corner who are
Yeah.
working towards the same thing.
Absolutely.
And he also emphasizes the importance of clear roles and responsibilities within the team.
Right, making sure everyone understands their part
Yes.
in making that prophecy come true.
Exactly. He talks about using frameworks like DIC
Oh, yeah.
to understand different personality types
Right.
and communication styles. And this isn't about putting people in boxes,
Right.
but it's about recognizing we all have different strengths
Yeah.
and weaknesses.
Right. It's about maximizing those strengths
Mm-hmm.
to create a more cohesive
Yes.
and effective unit.
Exactly. And he gives some really compelling examples
Okay.
of companies where a strong shared belief system
Right.
has led to incredible success.
Like who?
Well, he talks about organizations like Zappos,
Zappos, okay.
known for their exceptional customer service.
Right.
Their entire culture is built around the belief that happy employees
Yeah.
lead to happy customers.
Makes sense.
And it's clearly working for them.
It's amazing how a simple belief like that
It is.
can permeate an entire organization
Yes.
and shape everything.
It can shape
We
everything.
have hiring practices to customer interactions.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And he also talks about Google,
Google.
famous for their culture of innovation
Right?
and their belief in the power of experimentation and failing fast,
Failing fast.
has allowed them to create some of the most groundbreaking products and services in the world.
That makes you realize that a shared belief system
Yeah.
can be a powerful competitive advantage.
It's a huge advantage.
It is.
But Mike is also careful to point out
Right.
that it's not just about blind optimism.
Right.
Businesses need to balance that positive outlook with a healthy dose of realism.
So it's not about sticking your head in the sand and pretending everything is perfect.
No, he cautions against falling into the trap of overconfidence,
Right.
which can lead to unrealistic expectations and ultimately
Disappointment.
disappointment.
Yeah. It's about having a clear-eyed view
Yeah.
of the challenges, but believing in your ability to overcome them.
Exactly. And he talks about the importance of having a plan.
Yeah.
Setting realistic milestones, measuring progress along the way.
It's like having a roadmap.
It is like a roadmap.
For your prophecy. Making sure you're staying on course.
Yeah.
And making adjustments as needed.
Exactly. So it's not just about believing you'll succeed.
Right.
It's about taking those beliefs and turning them into a concrete plan of action.
And that ties back to that concept of execution fitness.
It does.
That we were talking about.
Yeah, it's not enough to just believe.
You got to do it.
You got to take consistent, focused action.
Yes.
And that's especially true at the team and organizational level.
Now, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how a leader could practically apply this concept of a team prophecy.
Right.
What are some steps they could take to cultivate that shared belief and drive collective action?
That is a great question. I think it starts with clearly articulating the vision. And not just what the team is trying to achieve, but why it matters.
Why it matters.
So instead of just saying, we need to increase sales by 15%, the leader needs to paint a picture of what that achievement will enable. Maybe it's expanding into new markets, developing innovative products, or creating more jobs. It's about connecting that goal to a larger purpose.
Yeah, something that will inspire and motivate the team.
Exactly. So it's not just about setting a target. It's about creating a shared sense of meaning and purpose.
Shared meaning and purpose,
And once you have that shared vision, it's about creating a plan that everyone can buy into, breaking down that big, audacious goal into smaller, more manageable milestones.
It makes it feel less overwhelming.
It does, and more achievable.
And it's important to celebrate those wins along the way.
Oh, yes. Recognizing both individual and collective contributions.
Yeah. It reinforces that belief.
It does.
In their ability to succeed. Keeps the momentum going.
Yes, and crucially, it's about fostering open communication.
Oh, absolutely.
Creating an environment where people feel safe to share their ideas.
Their concerns. And even their doubts. Because, let's face it, even in the most positive and supportive teams, there will be moments of uncertainty.
Absolutely.
And that's where those tools from positive intelligence can be so valuable.
Helping team members identify and manage those negative thoughts and tap into their inner sage to navigate those challenges and stay focused on that shared goal.
Exactly. It's about building that mental fitness muscle. At the collective level. Yeah. Mike also emphasizes the importance of building trust within a team.
Oh, absolutely. It's about creating a culture where people feel valued, respected, and supported. That they know they can rely on each other. And that their contributions are appreciated.
And that ties back to the idea of social fitness.
It does. That strong relationships are not just good for our personal well-being, but they fuel collective success.
Yeah, when people feel connected to each other and to the organization's mission, they're more likely to be engaged. Motivated and productive.
It's true. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about how Mike applies the self-fulfilling formula to the world of sales. He actually uses Brian Tracy's new model of selling as a framework.
So this is where we see that blend of positive mindset, relationship building, and strategic action all come together.
They do. They really do. He talks about approaching each sales interaction not as a transaction, but as an opportunity to create a genuine connection and provide value. It's about listening, truly understanding the customer's needs, and then presenting solutions that address those needs in an authentic and helpful way.
It's about shifting the focus from closing the deal to building the relationship.
Exactly. Because ultimately, when you build a strong relationship based on trust and mutual respect, the sales will follow naturally.
I think he uses a really interesting analogy to illustrate this.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
He says that traditional sales tactics are like trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
Oh, yeah.
You might eventually get it in.
You're right.
But it's going to be a lot of work.
A lot of work.
And it's probably going to damage both the peg and the hole.
Ouch.
Ouch. I think we've all been on the receiving end of those aggressive sales tactics.
We have.
It's never a pleasant experience.
It's not fun.
But Mike suggests that when we approach sales with a self-fulfilling formula mindset, it's like finding the right key for the lock.
Oh, I like that.
It just clicks.
It's click.
And it opens up a world of possibilities.
That's a great way to put it. It's about finding that perfect alignment between the customer's needs and the value that you can provide.
Yeah, and that's where the power of belief comes in.
It does.
If the salesperson truly believes in their ability to help the customer, and if they approach that interaction with a positive, confident attitude.
Yes, it's contagious.
It's contagious.
Right. The customer is more likely to pick up on that energy and be more open to what they have to offer.
And be more open. So it's about creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
Where both the salesperson and the customer benefit from the interaction.
Yes. And Mike goes beyond just sales.
Okay.
He explores how the principles of the self-fulfilling formula can be used to enhance social fitness within an entire organization.
Within an entire organization.
He talks about creating a culture that prioritizes relationships, not just between the company and its customers, but also among employees and with all stakeholders.
So it's about moving beyond just being customer-centric or employee-centric to being relationship-centric.
That's right.
That's a good way to put it.
It means honoring all those relationships, proactively identifying key connections, and focusing on creating mutual benefit.
Mutual benefit.
Yes, it's about creating this win-win ecosystem where everyone feels valued and supported.
And he also discusses the importance of honoring those relationships that employees have outside the organization.
Oh, absolutely.
Like with their families, their community, things like flexible work arrangements, support for family commitments, even organizing social events for employees and their loved ones.
Right. It's about recognizing that people have lives outside of work. And those lives are important.
Yeah, are important.
And it's about trusting that when employees feel supported and valued, they're more likely to be engaged and productive at work.
Right. So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Now let's talk about some of the specific strategies that Mike outlines for enhancing social fitness in a business context.
Right. He's a big proponent of using the DISC model to understand different personality types and communication styles.
Yeah, I've heard of DISC, but I'm not super familiar.
Okay, well, it's a really useful tool for building more effective teams and improving communication.
Okay.
Essentially, it identifies 4 main personality types.
Okay.
Dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness.
Okay, so by understanding how different people process information. Interact with others, we can tailor our communication style for more effective collaboration.
Exactly, and it helps us appreciate those differences instead of seeing them as obstacles.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Now, besides DISC, what are some other strategies?
Well, he talks a lot about the importance of nonverbal communication.
Nonverbal communication.
Which is often overlooked.
Like body language.
Yes.
Tone of voice.
Exactly. Those things can have a huge impact on how our message is received. Sometimes even more so than the words themselves.
And he also reminds us of the Carnegie Triangle.
Carnegie Triangle.
You ever heard of that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, it's a principle. That highlights the importance of attitude in success. It states that only 15%
wow.
of a person's success is due to their technical skills and knowledge. The other 85% comes down to their attitude.
Wow. That's a powerful reminder.
It is.
That our mindset really does matter.
It really does.
And it makes me think about how we can apply those principles of self-fulfilling prophecies, not just to ourselves and our teams, but to even bigger challenges.
Right. You're talking about those societal level prophecies that Mike proposes.
Like using the formula to address things like climate change, poverty, and social injustice.
That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. It feels almost audacious.
It does.
To think we could apply this formula to issues that big.
But then again, if we're talking about transforming the world, maybe we need to be a little audacious.
A little audacious. So where do we even begin?
Right.
How do we apply the self-fulfilling formula
Yeah.
to something as complex and deeply rooted as global conflict?
Well, Mike starts by laying out a prophecy for resolving conflict through empathy and understanding.
Okay.
And it's a pretty radical shift from the way we typically approach these situations.
Right. Instead of demonizing the other,
right,
we actively seek to understand their perspective,
yes,
their history,
their pain.
Their pain. It sounds idealistic.
It does.
But it also makes a lot of sense.
It does.
If we can find that common ground.
Yeah.
That shared humanity, maybe we can start to bridge those divides.
Maybe we can. He talks about the importance of listening.
Okay.
Of really hearing what the other side is saying, even if we don't agree with it.
Right.
It's about finding those points of connection, those shared values.
And building on those instead of focusing on the differences.
It's a powerful reminder
it
that even in the midst of conflict, there's always the potential for understanding and reconciliation.
There is?
He also proposes a prophecy for eradicating poverty.
Oh, wow.
And this one is huge.
That's a big one.
It would require a fundamental rethinking of our economic systems.
Yes.
Our social safety nets. Our entire approach to wealth and resource distribution.
Yeah, that's a daunting challenge, to say the least.
Daunting it is.
But Mike argues that if we believe that poverty is not inevitable, that it's a solvable problem, then we can start to create the conditions for a more equitable world.
And it starts with changing the narrative.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Shifting our collective mindset from scarcity to abundance.
And it requires looking beyond those short-term solutions and investing in those long-term strategies that address the root causes of poverty.
Right. Like access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunity.
He even tackles the justice system.
He does.
Laying out a prophecy for moving away from punishment and towards rehabilitation.
That one really resonated with me.
That's a big one.
Instead of viewing people who have committed crimes as irredeemable, we approach them with empathy. And a belief in their capacity for change.
It's a much more humane approach.
I think so.
Focused on healing and restoration.
Yes.
Rather than retribution.
He talks about the need to address those underlying social and economic factors that often lead to crime in the first place. And he emphasizes the importance of creating systems that support reintegration into society. Giving people a real chance to turn their lives around.
Of course, we can't talk about the future without addressing the elephant in the room. The big one.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Mike doesn't shy away from this challenge.
No, he doesn't. He lays out a prophecy for environmental sustainability, where we shift from a mindset of exploitation to one of stewardship.
Instead of viewing the earth as a resource to be plundered, we see it as our home.
Yes.
A precious ecosystem to be protected and nurtured.
He talks about the need to shift to renewable energy sources, reduce our consumption, create more sustainable practices in every aspect of our lives.
And it's a call to collective action.
It is.
A recognition that we're all in this together.
We're all in this together. And he's not just talking about governments and corporations making these changes. He emphasizes the power of individual choices.
Absolutely.
Those everyday decisions we make about what we buy, how we travel, how we live.
It's a reminder that even small changes multiplied across millions of people can have a significant impact.
And he also delves into the rapidly evolving world of artificial intelligence. AI. There's so much fear and uncertainty surrounding AI.
There is.
Will it take our jobs?
Yeah.
Will it become uncontrollable?
Will it turn against us?
It's easy to get caught up.
It is.
In those dystopian scenarios.
Yeah, but Mike challenges us to flip the script. And create a prophecy where AI is used for good. Imagine a future where AI helps us solve some of our most pressing problems. From climate change to disease to poverty.
It's a powerful reminder.
It is.
That technology is a tool.
It's a tool.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for evil.
That's right.
It's up to us to shape the future of AI.
Yes.
To ensure that it's aligned with our values.
Yeah.
And used to create a more just and equitable world.
Absolutely. He talks about the importance of ethical considerations in AI development.
Right.
Ensuring that these systems are designed to serve humanity,
Yeah.
not to control or exploit it.
It's a critical conversation.
It is.
To be having right now.
Yeah.
As AI is becoming increasingly integrated into every aspect of our lives.
Yes, and it's a conversation that needs to involve everyone,
right?
Not just the tech experts and the policymakers.
So after exploring all these potential applications of the self-fulfilling formula, what's Mike's ultimate message?
You know, it's a message of hope.
Okay.
Of empowerment and of possibility.
I like that.
He reminds us that we are not just passive observers of history,
right,
but active participants in shaping the future.
That we have the power to create the world we want to live in.
We do.
And it all starts with a single belief.
Right.
The belief that we can make a difference.
That's a powerful note to end on.
It is, but before we wrap up completely,
I
want to revisit those 3 pillars of the self-fulfilling formula one last time.
Yes.
Mental fitness, social fitness, and execution fitness.
These are the foundations upon which we build those prophecies.
Yeah.
The fuel that propels us forward on this journey of transformation.
Mental fitness is about cultivating that positive, resilient mindset.
Yeah.
Learning to quiet those negative voices and tap into the wisdom of our sage.
It's about believing in ourselves, in our potential, and in our ability to overcome challenges.
Social fitness is about nurturing those meaningful connections.
It is.
Recognizing that we're not meant to go it alone.
We're not.
It's about building trust.
Yes.
Communicating effectively, supporting each other.
Yeah.
And execution fitness is about taking action.
It is.
Showing up every day and doing the work.
That's right.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard.
It's about staying focused, being persistent, and celebrating those wins along the way.
That's right. And as Mike emphasizes throughout the book, these 3 areas of fitness are interconnected.
They are.
You can't build strong relationships.
Yeah, right.
If you're constantly battling self-doubt, and you can't take consistent action, if you don't have the support of others.
It's about creating a virtuous cycle.
It is.
Where each area reinforces the others.
Yes.
Propelling us forward on this journey of self-fulfillment.
Yes. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the self-fulfilling formula, I want to leave our listeners with a question.
Okay.
What kind of future do you want to create?
What prophecies will you set in motion?
Yes.
What impact will you make on the world?
The power to shape your destiny lies within you.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey of exploration and inspiration.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep those prophecies flowing.